What's going on, guys? PC here, and welcome to another episode of First Look. Today we're taking a first look at Agartha on the Dreamcast. This is a cancelled Dreamcast game from 2001. Well, 2000 it was first announced. 2001 is when it was cancelled, when Sega stopped all development activities in Europe. It's a real shame that this game was cancelled because it looked really promising. In fact, for me personally, if I were to find any cancelled Dreamcast game to finish and release, it would be this one because I think it was the most ambitious title, or one of the most ambitious titles. There were some really ambitious cancelled Dreamcast games, especially MMOs and things like that looked really cool, but Agartha in particular, especially since there was a lot of gameplay footage of it, looked really impressive, and just the overall story and premise of the game sounded really cool. And I'll kind of go over that as we're going through the demo here. But this game was by Cliche, who you may know as the studio behind Toy Commander and Toy Racer. Now, you might think that going from those games to something like this, which is a survival horror game if I haven't mentioned it already, is a bit of a stretch, but it really isn't, because No Cliche was founded by Frederick Reynal, who you may know as the creator of Alone in the Dark. And that is a very famous survival horror franchise. Now, No Cliche had not delved into survival horror yet up until this point when they started working on this game, but it wouldn't have been a stretch since Frederick Reynal was sort of a veteran of survival horror games. But this is actually the first survival horror game that Frederick Reynal had worked on since 1992's Alone in the Dark. He had actually no input in the future Alone in the Dark games, well, as far as I know. The first one is really the only one he worked on. But this would have been his first survival horror game since Alone in the Dark, which is interesting. So, as you can see, the game looks really nice. As a tech demo for the Dreamcast, I think this is a really good tech demo. It shows off some really nice lighting effects. And even the character animation is really, really good. Just how the character walks and moves around and moves his limbs. It's very lifelike. It's not like, say, Code Veronica, where the character is actually pretty stiff. There's a lot of movement going on with the character, which is really nice. So as you can see, there's an NPC over here. This is, like I said, more of a tech demo than anything, so you can't actually interact with any of the NPCs. They don't talk. You can't even shoot them. You do have a gun in the game. I'll show you the inventory here if I can figure out how to open it. Start button. Yes, there it is. So you have a gun, binoculars, a book, camera, identity card, mag light, pencil, loader, lantern, and key. Most of this you can't use. Now you might notice that I'm actually talking about this like I've actually played this before. This is actually my first time playing the demo, but I did watch the Dreamcast Junkyard, or Tom Lacey's video on the game, or the demo, so I kind of know what's in it, and I have actually seen footage of it before. But yeah, you can't really do much with any of the things in your inventory. You can't equip things like the gun. Say, for example, let's see if I can actually figure out how to use it. You can examine the items closer, hitting the Y button. You can look at them, which is nice. So if I close the inventory, I can actually use the gun, like so, but it doesn't actually do anything, which is kind of disappointing. So I can shoot up this entire room, and yeah, it has really no effect. It has some nice little gun flare effects there, but that's about it. I don't think it actually it does make a sort of a kind of a weird punching noise when it hits someone. So that's kind of interesting. Is there kind of some blood there, I think? I think there is. But she doesn't seem to care anyway. But yeah, you have a gun, can't really use it. You also have a flashlight, which you can use. And that has some really nice lighting effects on it. So let's kind of go around and explore a little bit more here. What's really cool is you have full control over your arm, and you can move it up, down, left, and right. You actually move forward by holding down the right trigger, which is interesting. But yeah, the actual animation, the way he moves his arm and everything is very realistic. Like how the camera has sort of a lens flare effect when you move the flashlight over it. Alright, so let's go back out, go to some of the other areas. There isn't a whole lot to the game. You can explore around the town. Like I said, there are a few different buildings that you can go into. But, again, this is more of a tech demo. Oh, that was kind of weird. I was kind of seeing through the wall there. Yeah, you can see the game is a bit glitchy. As it is a very early test version of the game, as it says right there. Okay, I have no idea what's happening. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, I think we're outside now. Now we can move forward and get out of the doorway before I end up going back in accidentally again. I really like the weather effects too. Quite nice. Overall, a very, very good looking game. So the story of the game revolves around this guy you're playing as, who is named Kirk. Not Captain Kirk. Completely unrelated. So this is a 1929 Romanian village, and it is... I'm not sure if it's actually happened yet, but the village is devastated by an earthquake. And the earthquake actually opens up an entrance to Agartha. Now, Agartha is a mythical city which is said to be a prison for evil beings. So as you can imagine, opening an entrance to Agartha probably isn't the best thing to happen to your village. But yeah, as Kirk, you can either help or hinder the village in their battle against evil and Agartha. So that's the basic premise of the game, and I really like the way the game was to handle the story. There were to be multiple endings of the game, depending on how you would conduct yourself in the game. So you could be good or evil. And I'm not sure exactly how you would do that, but I imagine you'd have dialogue with the various NPCs in the game and have different choices that you can make. So I don't know exactly what those choices would be, obviously, since there is no story in this tech demo, but I imagine you would talk to various NPCs and you could make choices that could, like I said, either help or hinder them. Maybe you have even life and death situations where you could choose to save someone or kill someone, which would obviously be a pretty clear delineation between good and evil. And what's kind of cool is if you look on the VMU, it actually shows various stats for your character, including life, and I'm not sure what the second one is down from life. It's, I don't know, virile, vitality, I don't know. I don't know what that is, but you also have good and evil. So I assume as you do different actions in the game, your good and evil bars will go either up or down, which is quite cool. And they'll affect, obviously, eventually the outcome of the story. Which is one of the things I really thought was intriguing about this game. And this game for me, personally, is... If I had a choice between the various cancelled games on the Dreamcast, which one would I want completed and released? It would definitely be Agartha. Mainly because it's just such an intriguing game. Just the atmosphere of it, just looking at this, it's just got such a cool atmosphere and setting, this 1929 Romanian village, and so it's sort of a dark and foreboding atmosphere. It's just really cool. Even just exploring around like this is quite nice, and makes me really want to play the full game. So yeah, I mean, it's just got such a cool setting, a cool storyline, and the fact that you can be good or evil in the game and affect the outcome and the story is very cool. It's definitely a game that I would have played had it been released. So, Mr. Reynal, if you are watching this, if you ever want to finish this game in your spare time, definitely do it. I will pay you. Really, really want to play this. So here's another building here. Got a couple guys at the table playing cards. So that's kind of cool. And apparently a hole in the wall back here. You guys might want to repair that. It's going to get a little chilly in here, especially with that weather outside. Yeah. I just really love how you basically move the analog stick around and you have full control over his right arm, which is quite cool. I like it. One interesting thing about this game, or I should say an interesting thing about Toy Racer in relation to this game, if you play Toy Racer, the final track in that game actually has these books lying on the ground, and if you look on top of the books, if you can move the camera in just the right position, you can see that the books actually say Agartha on them, and they actually have a picture of a demon. So it's kind of cool that No Cliche put that sort of Easter egg in Toy Racer to tease that this game was coming up. You can actually see a video. I did a video of that Easter egg if you want to check that out. If you're too lazy to actually find it yourself or don't own the game. I just thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, there isn't a whole lot to this tech demo, like I said. Basically, you can just explore around this little village here. I think it definitely gives you an idea of what the game would have been like. It just has a really, really cool atmosphere to it. I don't think I can go up this ladder. No. That's disappointing. I don't think it's anything up there anyway, so maybe I'm not that disappointed. But yeah, it's just really cool to be able to finally, quote-unquote, play Agartha. I mean, there isn't a whole lot here other than what you've already seen in the various, well, I shouldn't say various, the two videos that are out there of this game. It's pretty much exactly what you saw there, although there was an underground section, which I presume was the underground city of Agartha, where all the evil beings are. It showed a bunch of lava and things like that, but I don't think you can actually access that area yet, unless of course there's some sort of code that you can input somewhere, maybe with a keyboard, to change your area. I'm not really sure. But of course, like I said, I don't think the actual earthquake that initiated the whole storyline of the game has actually happened in this tech demo. So you're just exploring, I assume, the pre-earthquake village. But yeah, I think I'm just going to end the video here. I think you got the basic idea of the tech demo. I'll put a link in the video description where you can download the tech demo for yourself and take a look at it. It's quite cool, just exploring around and being able to see what the game, or get an idea of what the game would have been like. But anyway, guys, that is it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. And thanks for watching. Okay, so I had to add this into the video here. I found this Easter egg in the game that I thought was really cool. If you go backwards from the start of the game, you'll come across this cabin with a second floor. Now if you go up the stairs to the right of the cabin and into this room, at first it doesn't look like anything special, but if you go into this back room here, you'll actually notice something quite gruesome. A bunch of heads hanging from the ceiling. And I can only assume that these are actually the developers of the game. And I assume one of these is actually Frederick Reynal. But I just thought that was quite interesting. I think I actually seen this somewhere, in a screenshot possibly, but yeah, that's quite cool that they decided to put this little Easter egg in there. A lot of developers tend to do that sort of thing. They hide their faces in games and things like that, but yeah, I just thought this was quite cool and had to show you guys. But anyway, this is the real end of the video, so PC out.